putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
If this was in a vacuum, the fact that Trump didn't read his briefing and congratulated Putin would not be the biggest deal in the world. America has to deal with Russia on a wide array of issues, from Iran to North Korea to Syria. But the problem is it fits in a pattern of taking at every opportunity, a pro-Putin stance. And it's not clear whether that is out of some view of American-Russian relations, or just this very weird psychological thing where if the president feels like he says anything bad about Russia, it somehow diminishes his electoral victory. And so in and of itself, congratulating Putin is not great, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. It's the larger pattern that should be concerning to everyone.
Oh, they admit it. These crazy leftists. Oh, in and of itself, it's not bad that President Trump would congratulate Putin. But, when you think about it, when you're forced to think about it, when you're forced to, to promote a fake news narrative, when you're forced to put some sort of a bias on Russian coverage so that you can promote this idea that Trump and Putin are in collusion with one another, well, then in that context, it's bad. Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. It's the Kevin Jackson Show. I love watching leftists. I like watching them as they try to rationalize themselves. They try to justify what they're doing. So it's a pro-Putin stance when the president of a country says, hey, congratulations, Vladimir, on your election. That's standard procedure. I mean, what is this mystery here? What are we talking about? Anytime somebody gets elected, sometimes even when it's bad guys that get elected 100% because they force people to do it, you make a call. Hey, congratulations on your victory, with your finger quotes. But that's what heads of state do. Putin did it to Trump. Congratulations, Mr. Trump, for making it divided. I'm shocked how you made it because, we did everything we could to help Hillary, but you made it yourself. Good for you. Yeah. Really? This is such a non-story. I want you to think about if Barack Obama had called Putin, probably did. I don't know how many elections Putin has had, but he probably called him at some point and said, hey, Vladimir, hey, congratulations on the victory. Just want to give a quick call. See? Okay. Talk to you later, bud. Bye-bye. And that was it. We wouldn't be saying a thing. I don't care who the president is. I don't care if Barack Obama calls the King of Siam or whatever and says, hey, congratulations on your victory. Congratulations, Theresa May in Britain. Congratulations, Angela Merkel of Germany or whomever. I don't know all these. Don't make me go too much farther. I don't know all the heads of state. But congratulations. And now we have to make it a big deal. Ooh, look at what he did with his pro-Putin stance. Did you hear this guy? A pro-Putin stance. And then he goes on to say this. It's a weird psychological thing that he's doing, and it's in and of itself in its normal mode. Well, it's not that, it's not a big deal, but it's a weird psychological thing. It's like if Donald Trump speaks bad about Russia, it diminishes his victory. How so? Because why? They want you to believe that the Russians are involved with Trump in this victory when we all know something different. You think Donald Trump really gives a crap what the Russians think about his victory? He doesn't care. In other than anecdotally saying, yeah, hey, if Putin's got information on Hillary, release it. I'd love to see it. I mean, hey, but more, I don't know, just drive-by media type stuff. But he doesn't care what's going on with Russia in that respect. And more importantly, has he not demonstrated that he's managing Russia? Look at who gave Russia the ability to go out and just steal territory. They annexed Crimea. They invaded Ukraine. I mean, Barack Obama, his Russian policy looks like he and Vladimir Putin spoon together once a quarter, whether they need it or not. Speaking bad about Russia diminishes Trump's victory, really? And then he ended it with this. That pattern should concern everyone. Everyone should be concerned about that. No, everyone shouldn't be concerned about that. But here's what Brennan had to say. Former CIA guy under Barack Obama. A guy who voted officially as a communist years ago. A guy who calls himself a jihad. And he actually believes himself to be associated with the Muslims. I'm not kidding you. Go do your research on Brennan and see what you find out about this guy. This guy was the head of Obama's CIA. If you want to know how the destruction of America was underway, go look at what these people were doing. But anyway, here's Brennan talking about Donald Trump. And this is priceless stuff. Seriously, here.
What do you chalk it up to? Why won't the president confront Vladimir Putin? Why won't he read the cards and say the things that you say need to be said to Vladimir Putin? Do you believe he's somehow in debt to the president of Russia?
I think he's afraid of the president of Russia.
Why?
Well, I think one can speculate as to why. That the Russians may have something on him personally that they could always roll out and make his life more difficult. Clearly, I think it's important for us to be able to improve relations with Russia. But the fact that he has had this fawning attitude toward Mr. Putin has not said anything negative about him. I think continues to say to me that he does have something to fear and something very serious to fear.
You believe Russia has something on him?
I believe that the Russians would not. They would opt for things to do if they believe that it was in their interests. And the Russians, I think, have had long experience with Mr. Trump and may have things that they could expose.
Something personal, perhaps?
Perhaps.
Welcome back. Oh, my gosh. That was torturous. It was very similar, if you notice what the other guy said. He said, like, speaking bad about Putin would diminish Trump's victory, and it's a pattern that everybody needed to be concerned about, that Trump wouldn't talk about Putin. So in that particular interchange, where a former CIA director under Obama, an avowed communist and Muslim Brotherhood sympathizer, says Trump's in debt to Putin. Why? Because of the Iranian One deal? Why? Why is he in debt? Trump doesn't have a building in Russia, doesn't have a golf course in Russia. What's he in debt for? So I love seeing this. And then he says, no, I think he's afraid of Putin. Okay, again, why? Is he afraid of Putin's economy? Is he afraid of Putin's military? What exactly would make a billionaire businessman who could buy and sell Putin, who, quite frankly, has no interest in Putin whatsoever, what makes him afraid? I have a theory. Are you guys interested in my theory? I have a theory of why Donald Trump is, according to John Brennan and all these other lefties, he's afraid of Putin. You want to hear my theory? You guys interested? All right, here's my theory. Barack Obama was afraid of Putin. That's my theory. Barack Obama was the biggest sissy president we've ever had. Jimmy Carter could have beat up Barack Obama. I'm just saying. He was a big sissy. And what they're telling you is exactly why we are witnessing what we're witnessing with the Russians. They tell you what's going on. The Russians have information on Obama, on Hillary Clinton, on all these lunatics. Think about it. What else could it possibly be? They keep telling you what he's got information on him. They're going to hold the American economy hostage. How are they holding the American economy hostage? Who's doing better? Let me ask you this question, people listening to the Kevin Jackson Show. By the way, if you want to chime in, KJRadio.com or 844-551-8255. So who's doing better? The Russians or the Americans? Under President Trump, who's doing better? Do you think the American economy is doing better or the Russian economy? Do you think that the American citizens are faring better or the Russian citizens? It's really that simple, isn't it? Let me ask you, under Obama, who do you think did better? Do you think the American economy was doing better? Certainly better than it is now, or is it doing better under Trump? It's a simple question. Do you think the average American is doing better, however you define it, under Barack Obama or under Trump? Even leftists know the answers to those questions. So what was funny, though, is he says the Russians may have something on him. Really? Or they may not. I love how they present these things. The Russians may have something on him. Okay? But then again, they may not, right? And did the guy push back? No. But then he says something very interesting. He says, clearly, this is what Brennan says, clearly we need to improve relations with Russia. Okay. How do you do that? By accusing the president of being afraid of him, etc. They all realize that. The other guy said it before when we were talking about Trump reaching out to Putin and saying congratulations. Clearly, It's not that big of a deal. That's what heads of states do. But yet, what are we talking about? The Russians. They say he's fawning all over the Russians. Then the guy asks him, do you believe that the Russians have something on him? They might have something. I mean, why even do this interview? Why do that interview when you know there's nothing but conjecture from a guy who, quite frankly, never should have been that high in our government?
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.